Good Monday morning to you. I'm Pete Najarian. This is the Take from Market Rebellion on this Monday morning. And really exciting week last week. Another powerful week, another big move to the upside. We had the NASDAQ actually closing for the first time over 11,000. We also had the Dow continuing to move to the upside. As a matter of fact, late in the day, the theme has been a nice, powerful move to the upside. Well, we got that. As a matter of fact, the Dow actually in the last 30 minutes or so ran about 100 points. A nice, strong finish to the week and a nice, strong finish to the Friday. And then you look over at the NASDAQ actually lagging a little bit, down about 1%. What was really dragging on it? Well, the SMH, you look at the semiconductors down about 1.25%. You take a look over at technology itself, down about 1.5%. Biotech actually holding in there, but the semis, they were getting pulled down by NVIDIA and AMD and Skyworks and those kinds of names. Throw in Qualcomm as well. Names that have been moving to the upside as well, but Friday, a little bit of a pull, and that's what was really pulling on the NASDAQ, but a nice finish for the week in terms of the Dow. Now, gold kind of flat, silver a little bit flat. You look over at crude trading around 41.5, so not doing a whole heck of a lot. But the volatility definitely kind of easing back, 22, 23, sort of in that range. Very, very tight, as a matter of fact, because the markets have been a lot tighter than they had been for a very long period of time. Volume. This has to be pointed out. 35.1 million contracts on Friday. Now, in the summertime, Fridays, normally, in a normal circumstances, people are leaving. They're going off to different places. The people out east, they might be going to the Hamptons. The people in the Midwest, they're going up north. The people on the West Coast might be going to the beaches. But people are leaving work normally earlier. The financial folks are leaving a little bit earlier because there's just a lot less interest. That is not the case during the pandemic, especially with so many people working from home, and many of those people maybe working from some of those destinations as well. Whatever the case, this was the biggest day so far in August. We've already had a couple of days over 30 plus million contracts trading. Huge day on Friday, 35 million contracts, biggest day so far for August. That's been the biggest day in a while now in terms of just seeing those kinds of volumes. And we could see it throughout the trading session as we were seeing gigantic numbers in specific names and then adding up with that flow across all the other names. It made a lot of sense. It felt like a day that was going to be definitely over 30 million. I didn't even realize that we'd be over 35 million when the day was done, but that's how many options were tallied up for Friday. Just a monstrous day. Now, dragging on the NASDAQ actually on Friday. Keep track of the names that I'm going to give you because some of these names are the same names that are probably leading things a little bit today. But in terms of the NASDAQ, well, you got Wynn, you got Las Vegas Sands, Activision, Take-Two, EA, Adobe, Autodesk, JD and NetEase, some of those Chinese names that were really sprinting to the upside, getting a little bit of a pushback to the downside, not quite as performing as well. But if there was a name that stood out from bell to bell on Friday, had to be Facebook. Facebook was on an absolute rip-roaring tear to the upside, hit 278, hit new highs, just a monstrous big move. It pulled off of that, still finished at 268, a really, really powerful move that, as I say, bell to bell, this was stock was strong throughout. A lot of options trading in there. One of the leaders absolutely on the day, so that was something. And a lot of these different names, it seems like, maybe tied into TikTok because we also had some pretty powerful moves out of Snap and some huge option activity in a name like Snap. As I say, I think some of that may be sort of somehow related to TikTok. We've talked already about Microsoft ad nauseum, so we all know about that. What really stood out other than Facebook? How about the financials that have not really participated? And when they've moved, they've just given it right back. Well, they've been kind of stair-stepping quietly to the upside. Had a big, nice day. As a matter of fact, Friday up about 2%. It was led by Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan. You had Travelers and you had American Express, so widening out a little bit of what financials were working, but grinding higher and higher into the close and the XLF pushing towards 25. Today, that's another storyline. Pushing towards that 25 for the XLF. Take a look at JP Morgan finally recapturing 100 today. So that's pretty interesting. The president over the weekend certainly put a lot of pressure on Congress. So that was something that was being talked about. The moves early, it looked like the Dow was going to be up about 100 points early on. Pulled back a little bit off of that. Returned right to it when we got to the opening, up about 120 points. Now we're up about 45 minutes into the trading day, 255 points. So call it 1%, nearly a 1% move to the upside so far. But the NASDAQ, in the pre-market, it was red, it was green, it was kind of shifting around. We opened up about 20 points. Now we're down about 40 points, so about 0.3% to the downside right now. Oil, getting a little bit of a boost once again, up over 42, up about 70 cents. So a nice move out of oil. You also have a nicer move coming out of gold where it's up nearly 1%. Silver up 4% today, back up and over 28.60 right now. As I mentioned, volatility sort of just tightening up a little bit more, it seems like, each and every week in terms of what was about a 5-point range has certainly moved closer and closer to a 1 or a 2-point range. So call it 22, 23 right now. We're just at about 22.50 right now for the volatility index. Now, what's really powering right now that Dow? Well, it seems to look, as you look a little deeper into it, the industrial's really pushing to the upside. So you've got Boeing, you've got Caterpillar, you've got Dow, all moving powerfully to the upside. You also have some good participation from Nike, from Walgreens, from Disney, some of those consumer type names. Energy also up about 1%. And we know there's some energy as well with Exxon and Chevron all mixed in there. Financials, as I mentioned, moving again. JP Morgan, Citi, Bank of America. Is some of this because of Berkshire and some of the chatter over the weekend with their earnings? That could certainly be a possibility. But fintech, that's something that has been absolutely ripping to the upside. Not really performing very well today. PayPal, Square, some of those names kind of really easing back today and just giving a little bit room for some of those other names that are maybe more on the financial side and less certainly on the fintech side. Now, when I look over at the tech and I look over at semis, they're not really down much. As a matter of fact, they're relatively flat. They're down maybe a little bit. But so what's pulling on those right now? Well, Tesla, Microsoft, Amazon, all a little bit lower. On the positive side, you've got Intel, Nvidia, and Apple a little bit higher. So that's that push and pull that you're seeing right now over in terms of just the NASDAQ itself and what's sort of the influence right now on the NASDAQ. Now, we always like to hit a little unusual option activity. One of the biggest ones that I've seen so far today, and we've already had multiple, maybe about 8 or 10 hits. We're 45 minutes into the trading session. So Micron Technology, talk about this all the time. I used to be the specialist in this stock on the options floor, the Chicago Board Options Exchange, way back in the day. This was the place to be. Early on in John's career, when he started down there, IBM was the place to be. Later on, it moved all around. You had Microsoft, you had all these names. Micron was the name to be, and that was the pit to be in back in the day when I came onto the floors about 10 years after John back in 92. Then we got to be a specialist, and I'll tell you what, Micron turned into an absolute monster. This was where the option paper was and the number of traders that would pile into that pit. Anyway, with the stock trading about 48.5, we had buyers of 12,000 of August 14. Today's already August 10th. Yep, we're already about almost halfway through August. So we're getting into August a little bit deeper. These expire Friday, so just be conscious of that. So the 49.5 strike calls, they're trading for about 53 cents up to about 80 cents, 12,000 of those being bought today. Pretty aggressive. So despite the fact that we're talking about the SMH is down a little bit on Friday, and you start looking over at some of the names that are going up and some of the names that are influencing the downside, Micron's one to maybe keep an eye on. Certainly, we're always looking for that. We're certainly looking for unusual option activity. This one stood out. Knowledge is king. You have to have that understanding. We got the best in the business. Check it out. Market Rebellion. Our education's unbelievable. Now, one more thing. So each and every day I do this. I do the take. John also does 3 at 3 Eastern time every single day as well. But Tom Lee is going to be with us, and every Monday we do a whole round table, and it's really great. We got the entire Market Rebellion team there and a wonderful guest. And this week, we've got Tom Lee from FunStrat. Now, this guy is unbelievable. He's really, really great. Tom loves to just put it out there and has a very strong opinion. He's not just going to give you a little bit of a song and dance, kind of dance around things. He's going to tell you what he thinks, and wait till you hear what he has to say today. That's going to be great. That's something you're going to want to tune into. That's today, right after the close today. That should be outstanding. Looking forward to that, and always look forward to seeing Tom and talking to Tom, asking him questions. One of the better guys in the entire industry. Folks, have a great day of trading, and have a great Monday and a start to your work week.